Why most people in their 20s can't stay consistent.
You're not lazy, you're not untalented, and you're definitely not incapable of success. So why is it that every time you promise yourself you'll stay consistent, you quit a few days or weeks later?
Why do you keep quitting goals that matter to you? If you're in your 20s, you're not alone. Millions are trapped in a consistency crisis that's silently delaying their success and keeping them stuck.
In today's video, we're diving deep into the real reasons why so many people in their 20s struggle to stay consistent.
We'll uncover the psychological traps, environmental pressures, and everyday habits that make commitment feel almost impossible.
You'll discover why motivation disappears so quickly, the hidden factors sabotaging your discipline, why having talent isn't enough to succeed,
Why your 20s are the most dangerous decade for developing bad habits, and most importantly, how understanding this crisis can completely change your future.
The shocking part? Most people think consistency is about willpower. It's not. In fact, one of the biggest reasons people fail has nothing to do with discipline at all. And once you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, you'll never look at your struggles the same way again. So make sure you watch until the very end, because the final lesson might explain why you've been stuck in the same cycle for years, and it could be the breakthrough you've been searching for. Let's get started.
It is Thursday night. Tayo is sitting at his desk with a notebook open, 3 tabs playing productivity videos, a half-finished bottle of water, and a gym bag on the floor that has not moved since Monday. On page 1 of his notebook, he wrote, "New life plan." Under it, wake up early, work out, study, post content, read every day, stop scrolling, sleep better, build a side hustle, become disciplined. By Monday afternoon, Tayo felt unstoppable. By Tuesday night, he was behind. By Wednesday, he told himself he would restart tomorrow. And now, it is Thursday. The notebook is still open. The gym bag is still untouched. The tabs are still playing. And Tayo is staring at the same thought he has had too many times. Maybe I just do not have discipline. But what if that is not the full story? What if Tayo is not broken? What if his ambition is real, but his system has missing pieces? The strange thing is, Tayo has been here before. Not in the exact same room, not with the exact same notebook, but with the same pattern. New month, new routine, new app, new identity, new video, new system, new planner, same crash. He has tried the color-coded calendar. He has tried the habit tracker. He has tried the dramatic playlist. He has tried the "I am becoming a new person today" speech in the mirror. And every time, the first few days feel powerful. Then, real life walks in. A late assignment, a long workday, a bad night of sleep, a stressful message, a messy room, a phone notification, one missed day. And suddenly, the routine does not feel like a system anymore. It feels like evidence. Evidence that he is lazy. Evidence that he cannot follow through. Evidence that successful people are just built differently. But GenTwenty's safer framing is different. Most people do not fail at consistency because they are broken. They fail because their system has missing pieces. A lot of self-improvement content treats consistency like a moral test. Disciplined people win. Undisciplined people lose. Winners show up. Losers make excuses. That kind of message can feel intense. Sometimes it even feels motivating for a few minutes. But it is not always useful. Because real consistency is shaped by more than personality. It is shaped by your schedule, your environment, your sleep, your workload, your stress, your money, your social support, your energy, your obligations, the difficulty of the task, and whether your system is designed for your actual life or your fantasy life. Tayo's problem is not that he has no ambition. His problem is that his ambition keeps entering the week without a track. Motivation is the spark. Discipline is the willingness to keep going. But the system is the track. And without a track, even strong motivation has nowhere reliable to go. Here is the twist. Tayo does not need to become the kind of person who never struggles. He needs to build a loop that helps him recover when struggle happens. Because consistency is not just, "I want this." It is, "When will I do it?" What exactly will I do? How will I know I did it? What will I learn when I miss? How will I adjust? A goal without a clear action is vague. An action without a cue is easy to forget. A cue without tracking gives you no feedback. Tracking without review becomes guilt. And review without adjustment becomes repeating the same mistake with better stationery. So, the better question is not, how do I become a perfect person? The better question is, what part of my consistency loop is missing? The research handoff for this video supports a few careful points. First, goal setting can support behavior change, but it is not magic. The effect can be modest, and it depends on context. So, writing down, I want to get fit, or I want to study more, may help. But the goal alone usually is not enough. Tayo had goals, a lot of goals. The problem was that his goals were not connected to a repeatable system. Second, implementation intentions can be useful. That is the technical term for an if-then plan. If this situation happens, then I will do this action. If I finish brushing my teeth, then I will read one page. If I sit at my desk at 9 a.m., then I will open my assignment before checking messages. If I get home from class, then I will put my shoes by the door and walk for 10 minutes. The point is not to create a perfect routine. The point is to connect a specific cue to a specific behavior. Third, habit formation is not as simple as the internet makes it sound. You have probably heard that it takes 21 days to build a habit, or maybe 66 days. But the safer interpretation is that habit formation varies widely. So if Tayo misses day 22, that does not prove he failed. And if something does not feel automatic by day 66, that does not mean he is broken. The timeline depends on the person, the behavior, the context, and the difficulty of the habit. Fourth, self-monitoring and feedback can support behavior change. That means tracking what happened, noticing what helped or hurt, and adjusting based on evidence from your own life. Not obsessing, not shaming yourself, not turning a checkbox into a scoreboard for your worth, just collecting feedback. So the lesson is not, this is a proven universal formula for consistency. A safer lesson is, consistency often improves when intention becomes a repeatable loop. The strategy for this video is called the consistency loop. It has 6 parts: decide, cue, act, track, review, adjust. And now Tayo is going to test it. Not with a perfect life, not with a full personality transplant, not with a 4 a.m. routine, with one small behavior. Because the goal is not to prove he is a machine. The goal is to build a loop he can trust. Step 1. Decide. Not 10 goals. 1. This is where Tayo usually loses before he starts. He tries to become a completely different person in 1 week. Wake up early, work out, journal, eat perfectly, study, post content, meditate, clean his room, stop scrolling, fix his sleep. It feels inspiring. But it is not a beginner system. A beginner system starts with one repeatable action. Not get my life together. Not become disciplined. Not change everything. One action. Read 1 page. Walk for 10 minutes. Study for 15 minutes. Write 1 paragraph. Stretch for 5 minutes. Plan tomorrow before bed. The smaller the action, the easier it is to repeat. And in the beginning, repetition matters more than intensity. So, Tayo chooses 1 goal: study more consistently. But he does not write, study more. That is too vague. He writes, review my notes for 15 minutes. Now the goal has a shape. Step 2, cue. A cue answers the question, when exactly will this happen? Most people say, I'll do it later. But later is not a time. Later is where goals go to disappear. Tayo knows this, because later has swallowed entire weeks of his life. So he chooses a cue. If I finish dinner, then I will review my notes for 15 minutes before opening social media. That is specific, not dramatic, not motivational, specific. A cue does not need to be impressive. It needs to be clear enough that your future self can recognize it. After coffee, I review my plan. After lunch, I walk for 10 minutes. When I sit at my desk, I open my assignment first. When I plug in my phone at night, I write tomorrow's top priority. The cue is the bridge between intention and action. Step 3. Act. This is the actual behavior. And for this experiment, the action should be small enough that Tayo can do it on a low motivation day. A common mistake is designing your habit for your best self. The version of you who slept 8 hours, has no stress, feels inspired, has a clean desk, and somehow has not touched their phone all day. But consistency is built by designing for your normal self. The version of you who is tired, busy, distracted, a little behind, still trying. So, Tayo does not choose a 3-hour study block. He chooses 15 minutes. Not because 15 minutes is magic, because it is small enough to repeat. And that matters, because a tiny promise kept repeatedly teaches more than a giant promise abandoned dramatically. Step 4. Track. Tracking gives Tayo feedback. Did he do it? Yes or no? That is enough. He does not need a complicated dashboard. He does not need a 12-column spreadsheet. He does not need a perfect Notion system with icons, formulas, and emotional weather reports. He needs one checkbox. Because the goal of tracking is not to prove he is a good person. The goal is to see the pattern. On day 1, Tayo checks the box. Day 2, he checks it again. Day 3, he almost forgets, but the dinner cue reminds him. Another check. For 3 days, the system looks simple. Maybe too simple. And that is the point. Then, day 4 happens. Tayo gets home late. Dinner is rushed. His phone buzzes. One message turns into one video. One video turns into another. And suddenly it is 11:48 p.m. The notebook is on the desk. The checkbox is empty. And the old voice comes back immediately. You failed again. This is the moment where most routines die. Not because of the missed day, because of the meaning attached to the missed day. Tayo has missed one day before, but usually he treats the missed day like a verdict. I am not consistent. I always do this. I knew I would fall off. But this time, the loop has another step. Step 5. Review. This is the part most people skip. They track for a few days, miss once, feel bad, and stop. But review turns the data into learning. So instead of attacking himself, Tayo asks one question. What made this easier or harder today? That question changes the whole story. Not, why am I lazy? Not, what is wrong with me? Not, why can't I be like those people online? Just, what made this easier or harder today? And now Tayo can see the pattern. He did better when he studied right after dinner. He missed when he took his phone to the couch first. He missed when dinner happened too late. He missed when the action still felt slightly too big on stressful days. That is not failure. That is feedback. The checkbox did not judge him. It taught him something. Step 6. Adjust. A system that cannot adjust will eventually break. Maybe the action is too big. Maybe the cue is unrealistic. Maybe the tracker is annoying. Maybe the environment is fighting you. Maybe the goal matters, but the timing is wrong. Adjustment is not quitting. Adjustment is how you make the system fit reality. So Tayo adjusts. He changes the cue from after dinner to after I put my plate away, before I sit on the couch. That tiny detail matters, because the couch is where the phone wins. He also puts his notebook on the table before dinner. And for stressful days, he creates a smaller backup version, 5 minutes, not as the main goal, as the rescue version, because the point is not perfection. The point is keeping the loop alive long enough to learn from it. Day 5. Tayo finishes dinner, puts the plate away, sees the notebook, opens it before touching his phone. 15 minutes. Check. Day 6. He is tired. The old plan would have collapsed here, but the adjusted loop gives him a smaller version. 5 minutes. Not perfect, but real. Check. Day 7. He reviews for 15 minutes again. Check. At the end of the week, Tayo does not become a new person. He does not suddenly wake up glowing with discipline. He does not delete every app, fix every routine, and become the most organized person on Earth. But something has changed. He has evidence now. Not evidence that he is perfect. Evidence that his behavior has patterns. Evidence that cues matter. Evidence that environment matters. Evidence that smaller actions survive better than dramatic ones. Evidence that a missed day can teach him something if he does not turn it into shame. This is where consistency starts becoming intelligent. So what does this look like in modern life? Let's say your goal is studying. The vague version is, I need to study more this week. The consistency loop version is, goal, study for my exam. Action, review notes for 15 minutes. Cue, after dinner, before opening social media. Tracker, 1 checkbox per day. Review question, what made studying easier or harder today? Adjustment, if evenings are chaotic, move it to the first 15 minutes after class. That is a system. Or let's say your goal is fitness. The vague version is, I need to get in shape. The consistency loop version is, goal, move daily. Action, walk for 10 minutes. Cue, after lunch. Tracker, mark yes or no. Review question, what got in the way today? Adjustment, if lunch does not work, walk immediately after your last class or work block. Again, not perfect, but repeatable. And repeatable is where identity starts to change. Not because you gave yourself a motivational speech, because you created evidence that you can keep small promises to yourself. Small promises, repeated, reviewed, adjusted. That is how scattered ambition starts becoming disciplined direction. Now, because this is modern life, AI can help, but only if you use it responsibly. AI can help Tayo generate if-then plans. He could ask, give me 5 simple if-then plans for building a 15-minute study habit after dinner. AI can help him review patterns. At the end of the week, he could paste in his notes and ask, what obstacles appear most often, and what are 3 realistic adjustments? AI can help him simplify. He could ask, make this habit easier for a busy student with low energy in the evenings. But AI should not replace self-reflection, because your life is not just data. You need to notice how the system feels. What drains you? What matters to you? What is realistic? What you are avoiding? What support you need? AI can organize the reflection. It should not do the reflection for you. And AI should not become fake accountability. If Tayo asks a chatbot to motivate him every night, but never changes the cue, the action, or the environment, he may just be outsourcing the emotional part while leaving the broken system untouched. Use AI as a mirror, not as a substitute for awareness. There is one more trap Tayo has to avoid: the timeline trap. The internet loves clean numbers. 21 days to build a habit, 66 days to make it automatic, 1 month to become unrecognizable. But real behavior change is messier than that. Habit formation can vary widely depending on the person, the behavior, the context, and the difficulty of the action. So do not use a number as a weapon against yourself. Do not say, I missed day 22, so I failed. Do not say, it is not automatic by day 66, so something is wrong with me. A safer way to think about it is this: the number of days matters less than the quality of the loop. Are you choosing one action? Are you attaching it to a clear cue? Are you tracking without shame? Are you reviewing what happened? Are you adjusting based on reality? That does not guarantee consistency, but it gives your ambition somewhere to go. Here is the 7-day experiment. For the next 7 days, you are not changing your whole life. You are testing one loop. Choose one daily action under 20 minutes. That is the rule. One action, under 20 minutes, for 7 days. Before you start, set up 5 things. First, choose one goal. Second, define the smallest repeatable action. Not the most impressive action, the smallest useful action. Third, write one if-then plan. If this cue happens, then I will do this action. Fourth, choose one tracker. A checkbox is enough. Fifth, write the evening review question. What made this easier or harder today? That is the whole experiment. Each day, do the action, track completion, and answer the question. At the end of 7 days, do not ask, "Am I disciplined now?" Ask, "What pattern did I notice? Which cue worked best? What obstacle appeared most often? Was the action small enough? What adjustment would make this easier next week?" The win is not perfection. The win is learning how your consistency actually works. Because the goal of this experiment is not to prove you are a machine. It is to build a loop you can trust. Here is the GenTwenty strategy card version. Strategy name, the consistency loop. Audience problem. I am ambitious, but I keep starting and stopping. I need a system that helps me repeat small actions instead of relying only on motivation. Core insight. Consistency improves when intention becomes a repeatable loop. Decide, cue, act, track, review, adjust. Verified basis. The research supports several components. Goal setting can support behavior change, but effects are context dependent. Implementation intentions can connect cues to actions. Habit formation timelines vary widely. Self-monitoring and feedback can support behavior change, though results vary by context and evidence quality. How it works. Choose one goal, define one small action, attach it to one cue, track completion, review what helped or hurt, adjust the system. 7-day experiment. Run one daily action under 20 minutes for 7 days. Use one if-then plan, one tracker, and one evening review question. Caution. This is not a guaranteed formula. It does not remove real constraints like stress, sleep, mental health, workload, money, or environment. It is a practical system to test, not a diagnosis or cure. At the end of the week, Tayo's life is not magically fixed. His room is still a little messy. His phone is still distracting. His schedule is still imperfect. He still has more goals than time. But now, when he misses, he does not only ask, "What is wrong with me?" He asks, "What part of the loop broke? Was the goal too vague? Was the action too big? Was the cue unclear? Was the tracker too complicated? Did I review the miss? Did I adjust?" That question changes everything. Because shame closes the notebook. Feedback opens it again. And maybe that is what consistency really needs at the beginning. Not a perfect identity. Not a dramatic routine. Not a promise to become a completely different person by Monday. A loop. A small action. A clear cue. A simple tracker. A review question. An adjustment. And enough honesty to keep learning. Most people are not broken. Their system is incomplete. And once you learn how to inspect the system, consistency stops being a mystery. It becomes something you can build, one loop at a time. For the next 7 days, try the consistency loop. One goal, one cue, one action, one tracker, one review question. Then come back and ask, "What did this teach me about how I actually operate?" Drop your one action in the comments. Not the huge life overhaul, just the one small loop you are testing this week. And subscribe to GenTwenty for more systems that help you turn scattered ambition into disciplined personal direction. This is GenTwenty, figuring life out together.
Thanks for watching GenTwenty. We're figuring life out together, one step at a time. Subscribe and join our community for more inspiration, growth, and real-life conversations.